Hi everyone, so if you look, I made some videos in the classroom, dropped some. This is kind of a little quickie for me to help you with your assignment. And I'm doing this capture with Snagit, and it's one of the products that I really like and enjoy. You can see them at home. But this free trial, it'll count down, so we have 30 days to try to use it, check it out, and that's more than enough time to work with your assignment and this week, and really if you're being proactive, do your whole assignment if you want. I'm going to talk about Premiere as well, which is a really intensive program next week or a week after that a little bit just to show you guys. But you guys can use this. I really like. So I'm just going to continue to the trial. I'm not going to do any of that. So just to get in here. But I put inside and went into them just to get you the screen on Camtasia to see what this looks like. And this is your media bin, in which I talk a lot about, with this and Premiere and everything else. And I keep telling you guys, one of the things is always put everything in a folder. So I kind of started having fun and playing around myself. And just so you guys can see, you can do all kinds of different tricks and everything. And there's a timeline here, your media bin, which we'll bring in. This is our major playhead for what we see on a video. And I just threw some stuff in real quick so that it'll kind of bring in, you'll see the playhead start to scroll and it'll come into this little part and it brings up just an arrow I designed with my name. And we're going to talk about them and different types of animations and pieces that you can do in this, which is really fantastic overall. I jumped over to my screen and I created a folder just with some other additional items that I want to bring in here. So you kind of want to have everything mapped out in a little timeline in your head. You can do that as simple as a piece of paper, so that you know what you want. I'm just moving the screen for a second. So I'm going to say that I want to bring all this media, and that way the program will locate it in the folder that you choose and create. On a desktop is where I usually put it, so everyone, everything is right there in the same place. So I'm just going to drag and drop that media right into the actual media bin. You'll see it appear real quick. Now I'll cover this back up and bring our screen up. So once we have all this in here, we actually have, now you see this one, a missing file, and I did that on purpose because it's in another folder, another area. And so once I do that and you relocate it somewhere else, this piece right here will not come up. It'll tell you missing file, and I did that on purpose. So make sure that's one key thing, is to put everything in the same folder so that it's already organized, everything's right where you want it to be, and you know exactly where everything is. If you've got to go relocate it, you can. But right now, I don't know where that is, so that's a problem, the same as the computer won't understand it. So keep the same folder working on this when you can. So just for the fun of it, I'm going to drag in here just a piece, and I'm going to drop it on our timeline. And I'll just delete this one out because we know we can't find it. I'll say, okay, I'm starting all over. So we'll drop a piece in. As soon as we do that, we'll see it brings it up in the actual playhead. And this design is going to pick up what, when you do this, the actual scale of the video is. Now this is one I was already working on, so I'm going to restart and start a new one here. And we'll do the same process real quick, and I'll bring us up to that point because I just wanted to see the missing file, what happens if you save and you go back. That's very important. So gang, what I'll do is I'll just go in and I'll start a new project. As soon as I do that, it pops up a new bin. It's fresh. There's nothing imported in here. It's all clean. There's nothing to track. So I'm kind of going to just take this one out and I'll delete that so it's not confusing the program. And I'll bring back up our media bin. Again, I'm just going to drag everything I want to work with right into the media bin itself. So it's all there. And now we have just a clean slate, everything here. So if we're working and we're looking at the different video types, you can see that there's different files, different sizes. This is a still picture, and you can see you can playhead over top of these real quickly. So gang, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just grab another piece. You can see the playhead. I'm just going to bring it in and I'll put it in track 1 just so we have something there. And now you can see the size and scale is on this. And so if it's not at 1080p, you can make it larger, and you can go ahead and drag and kind of fill that whole frame out, because that's where pretty much your viewer head's going to be. So if you think about that and you want to fill it up, and it'll just create a real nice play. And it doesn't really affect everything.
So this semester is all about teaching.
And this is an interesting piece. So maybe we come in and right away, you know, you're going to want to put, because I like to do transitions and everything last and different pieces and overall introductions. You can always, if it's just a piece, you can always just grab and roll it. They call it ripple and slide. And anything stacked or anything behind it will always move to the right. If you're pulling back to the left, it won't grab unless you shift and grab and literally try to group something. Well, actually the group, sorry gang, I have to pull something else. So let's say I have this here and I want to group, I want to move all this. You can just shift, grab, and then pull. On Macs you can just drag and it'll do it. On PCs I think you have to have shift. But, you know, that'll be a real nice way later if you want to put a transition in there. It's something I like you to have, or just a kind of an annotation or anything overall. On this program itself, it really makes the media simple to where you can just see your bin, clicking on annotations like you saw before I made. So if I know I'm going to come in there, like I introduced myself here, there's all kinds of different things. Like I had fun before I dropped in. And we can drop right on top, because anything over top of the bottom will appear. And when you're doing this, you can just put it on, put the playhead on, and you can edit. So it just gives you, you know, generic. You can reposition this anywhere you want. It kind of brings it up. So now if we're just looking right away, kind of fun.
So this semester is all about teaching others about IT and what.
So we're looking at this, and it's over to playhead. You see I'm still kind of highlighted. You can do all kinds of different actions and everything you want on this, imply anything. You can do behaviors, which is kind of fun. You can make it do different effects like this just by simply dropping and dragging it on that item. And that causes an actual effect on this now.
About IT and what we do. And actually putting together some thought plans.
So you can see what happens right to the end of the clip. Simple, fun ways to do something so fast in this. There's all kinds of different ones. You know, you can see the different effects of what they do just by scrolling over it. Transitions is something we're going to put in there, and you can see the different frames and what they'll do. So let's look at this, and I just threw a photo in here for the fun of it. Now, right away you see that's not the same frame size. So we're going to put the playhead on, and I'm just going to stretch. And if I hit shift, anything you want to undo, you just hit undo on that little arrow, or redo on this one, by the way. It's really great for this program. And reposition this photo just a little bit so I can grow it, make it larger so it fills that whole frame up. Now I have a kind of whole frame, then I'll just position it up just a touch. That's where I want that. And now if you hit the playhead down here again,
about how to teach, how to do.
You see that's kind of playing in full frame. So we went from
putting
here,
together some thought plans about
and it
how
kind
to
of just
teach,
hard
how to
cuts
do.
in. So if you
create
put your playheads right at the beginning, you can add kind of a good effect just by simply dropping it right on top of that.
About how to teach, how to
and
do,
it'll arrow
and
in,
create
and then
interesting
it'll bring
videos,
out as well.
different aspects,
These on the other end,
and
back to
overall
that,
cool project.
and that's simple.
This
Now, in
semester's
high-tech
big
programs
element.
like Premiere and everything else, you have to do what's called keyframing, which I'll show you guys later in that program. But it's a really interesting technique just to create a whole different feel and organization to your overall presentation, and it's terrific to do this. A couple of fun things I want you guys to try to do during your presentations is actually do that and look at some of the different technique styles. Dropped another piece down from the timeline so you can see it, and I'm just going to do the same effect by kind of letting it, you can do with this kind of pretty cool, because if you just want to talk about something else, I can bring it in and put it right on the screen as I'm talking. That's how they kind of do that in a TV effect. And we know we kind of want to transition, so I'm going to put, just for the fun of it, let's see here. We'll do a fade, because that way it'll just kind of come in and come out as I'm talking.
This semester's big element is going to be your
Hi everyone, so
project,
today I'm going
which
to
you're
talk
gonna
about...
And you can just kind of see that happen, that effect. Once you're off
This
the playhead,
semester's
it'll
big
bring it in,
element's
just
gonna
like
be your
Hi everyone,
they
so
do a
today
lot
I'm
of
going to
times
talk
in
about
the weather. Well, this one has audio, and it's something else you kind of got to talk about. So if we have an audio track and you want to kind of split that up, you can actually do that overall idea. And you just highlight the track, simply go up and separate audio and video. This is important because if you want to work with your audio, and up in here, say we want to actually work with that audio, in the other programs you can do what's called keyframing, and here you can do it too, but this will bring up and down the levels of this. We can take the levels and just vanish it so it's 0%. We can bring it up. If you double click onto the timeline, it creates what's called a keyframe. So we could actually do that in a couple areas and make a couple of them. This is really fun with music, to where you can then just slightly bring the music in, bring it out. Say we want to have this transition up so that when you're playing,
it's going to be your final project, which you're going to work.
It'll come up and down to the volume you want. But on this one, I don't really want to have this. This is just an animation we're using. So I'm literally just going to highlight it, and I'm going to delete the music track out. So now the audio's gone.
It's going to be your final project, which you're going to work on each week.
And I'm like, okay. At any time, you can just click in your playhead and readjust that and bring it in, which is a pretty cool idea, overall. So now we have a quick transition. Say I want to talk about something and bring it in.
You're going to work on each week. I'm going to be using different technology.
And say right there, different technologies. Maybe you want to bring in an idea and overall blow up something, or put an arrow in, back to our animations. You can do all kinds of different things with this. One of the things, if you look at this one, it's a focus. So you can also drop this on the track, and it'll bring up kind of that, what they call a smart one. It should drop. You'll see, it doesn't want to let me do it for some reason right now. Probably because I already have one effect. I dropped in just this scale to fit for the fun of it on the lower half. And I'm just going to say I want to change. Now, we can do a length duration. So if I want, I can bring this up.
Yeah. We'll have tests in hand. We're going to learn just a little bit about some of the academic.
And we can change this overall frame itself to whatever we want to change that size to. And it grows inside of this. And for right now, I'm just going to edit out. Let's say I want to edit this out. So I'm going to say I want to cut right here. And you'll see that that gave us a line of cutting. So you can actually take that, highlight it, and we can take this part, if we want. You can do it that way, you can do it. What I like to do is just old-fashioned. It's just actually going in and on the actual pieces, I split them. So now that's split. So I can say, okay, I'm done with that clip. That's all I wanted. So I'm going to highlight that split area, and we should be able to delete it or move it. I cut both because they were highlighted, and that allows me to just clear up that frame, which is kind of nice. And then it gets me back into that area where we start at. So if we bring our playhead back, we've got a really nice little cut. It's done. The split is over. And that can be now moved, like I said before, shift, and we can bring these together and abut them. And now we have that area just cut out of that design. If we want to edit a burp or something like that, or something we didn't really like into the project out overall. Time you're doing that, as soon as you do something major, I always save mine. So I go ahead and I've already saved as, and I placed it on my desktop into our folder, just so you know that's there. And that gets you back to a starting place too. So it puts everything back together, which is nice. So on this, say we wanted to get rid of that. We can actually just delete that clip now out. And I found with Camtasia, it really likes you to just kind of stop. It doesn't like to go. Now here, since we did the split, I want to put these two pieces together so we can actually kind of put them all back together itself by grouping them. That's another thing you can do. So that's a smooth transition. They call it stitching. And just put it back together so it's one piece, and it's kind of easy to use if you're happy with what you're getting. You just put it on the playhead where you want it to be, go up, hit again, and stitch selected media, and you'll see it just puts like a stitch mark on there. So now these two pieces are kind of joined as one.
Teaching somebody else
just to be as smooth, so you don't have to worry about transitions. And you'll see here we dropped off our piece when it was going. It just kind of faded out real quick.
How to do
boom, you're gone.
If you guys are interested in.
So now maybe we wanted to have one of the important things I'd like you guys to try to do is one of those lower thirds you can do for that, and it's really easy to do in this program as well. Actually, gang, I take that back. I'm sorry, because we're using the free download version, we can't actually do all that because Camtasia locks us out. There's a second piece on here in the media which usually says library, and in the library it gives you the ability to do hotkeys for making the animation for that. So we'll have to just stick, if you want to do that, just putting annotations using one of these. You can use one of the fun shapes or something like that. You can use one of the blocks like I did here, and you can always copy that if you want and re-put it back in here, and you can paste another one. And remember, we can put a transition on. So if you guys are doing something like this, I'm going to be overly happy for now. So just use that for nameplates for this one, unless you guys want to really get
other projects and classes, because we're all going to be
get the actual product, because it kind of locks us out. It only lets us dump the media in, but there's a second tab here, it's library, which is really cool because it gives you, and I'm going to pull up, I found just a tutorial on this, and it shows where you see media and library bin, and when we click on the library bin there, it actually allows us to go into all these other animations, and you can see drop downs which we pull to make this kind of cool TechSmith, where they're doing nameplate, animated, and everything else. And there's also free video and free music backgrounds in there for the green screen, which I was thinking that we could do that, but I didn't realize on the free version until right now, which I apologize, you can't. So I'm not really going to worry about that this time. If we do that, if you guys want to buy this, it's rather expensive. You can, but if you're planning on using it and being a project manager, it'd be something you really want. So just working with this type of stuff, I'm going to be happy. If you got into this, it's a really great program to do these, but it's kind of the next level where we can't do too much without costing us a lot of money. For that, we just, cheat sheet do these and some of the animation models that it'll let you. You can try different blocks, you can add different things there. It allows you to change the different styles a little bit and do a lot with that. Or abstract, whatever shapes and designs there. You can also do these arrows if you want to drag and drop an arrow in on top of it, which is kind of fun. Every time you drag and drop another one, it just places another thing on the levels to where it'll appear. You can see that just comes in, and we can change this. We can make it longer. We can point to directions. Same thing if you want to point out something. Make sure there's not distractions in the background, like I talk about, and I kind of on purpose did that because I'm recording here, and I was thinking about coming in and saying, make sure the distractions are not there so we're not reading them. You can see a lot of times I block stuff out. You can do that with your body. So that was something else we talked about. But you can talk about that like this one here. So that's something else when we're thinking. You can do all kinds of fun shapes if you want to have fun with that. I mean, go for it. It's whatever you guys kind of want to do. This one's kind of neat because it'll let you do the drawings and different things inside of there. If you want to have, I don't know, different shapes are a good time and make a good laugh if there's something in there. But deleting it always when you're doing that. But as long as you're using transitions, you can try some of the behaviors, because remember, if you have the words on there, like we did on this one, we can change that so it comes in. You just throw that right on top. Now we have the double effect where it fades in.
To help you with
now
your
it's going to
custom
bounce around.
projects and other projects and classes.
I'll be happy with that for now because I really don't want you guys spending
And inside of this, we're also
a lot of money on this. So there's a couple effects and tricks. I'm putting a lot of videos in there about how to do, and a lot of them you can't do, but I want you to understand that. So if you want to use this for your final project, then actually purchase that, versus the Premiere is going to do everything plus, but we can get it through the school for a lot cheaper as well. But this is a really great program to try, and I want you guys using this and trying it this week, just on a free program for everything you can do. All right, gang, so I'm looking forward to a project this week. Again, teach me something cool. Use something out of your text and highlight a different segment. Do something like that that's really interesting, and I'll be happy. All right, gang.